What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video from your boy LeoJ. Man, this look is on my face because I must be like living under a rock or something, bro. Like, there's a whole thing going on with P. Diddy, bro, that I was not aware about. I heard a few allegations here and there, but man, celebrities are always in the media, bro. So I wasn't even taking it serious. But then I saw this, bro. And I heard that his house got raided. So I will check this out and see what exactly is going on. Cause man, this is crazy, bro. Another one bites the dust, man.
The possibility of a sex trafficking investigation, sex trafficking related charges. If we go to December 2023, there was a woman who accused Combs and former Bad Boy Entertainment president Harvey Pierre and another person of sex trafficking and gang raping her when she was 17 years old. There was a Jane Doe who says that she was flown from Michigan to New York City, supplied with drugs and alcohol, and then assaulted by all three men at Combs' recording studios.
What?
Now, Combs, by the way, has always denied the allegations. And in fact, in response to one lawsuit, had posted, I believe it was on Instagram, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do," and he goes on to say, "did not do this." Now, again, that was in relation to a lot of these lawsuits being filed. But when we're talking about sex trafficking, Tracy, and we're talking about the Southern District of New York possibly initiating this search warrant, where does your mind go in terms of what we might be looking at in terms of potential charges, potential allegations, and how it's connected to New York?
Bro, I want to pause it right there for a quick second. First, it was Michael Jackson. Well, it goes way beyond Michael Jackson, but I'm going to start at Michael Jackson. It was Michael Jackson, and then it went to Cosby, and then R. Kelly, because R. Kelly one was big. And then now P. Diddy, and I heard a bunch of other names being called in it, like Jay-Z, like Beyonce, like J-Lo. Bro,
So I absolutely
this is insane.
Believe, and again, simply my hypothesis, he is innocent until proven guilty, that he will be arrested and indicted on sex trafficking charges. I have no doubt about that. And I do believe that he was most likely the kingpin of this. These girls, what that tells me, if it's out of the Southern District of New York,
then you
is
had
this is spanning
Andrew
multiple
Tate again?
states, and that he is trafficking or allegedly trafficking girls across multiple states, across the United States. This isn't just an isolated incident in one location. And so I have heard things as well about his Hamptons parties and things happening in those Hamptons parties as well. So I suspect more evidence may come out as a result of that. But these are extremely
It's been a while
serious,
they've been talking about P. Diddy and his parties, bro.
Part of me, too, is frustrated by somewhat the complacency, right, of the entertainment industry as a whole in this. And I think sometimes people fly under the radar for a long time, like Epstein did as well.
Yeah, this dude was one. I heard he unalived himself because, like, everybody he had messed with, well, not everybody, but almost everyone he had messed with was just coming forward with proofs and stuff, and he knew he was gonna go down, so he unalived himself, bro. Like,
scared. People want to still climb the ranks, and we're doing it all the while sort of sacrificing the safety of these young victims or girls that are involved in this, and that is
the Disney
deeply troubling.
They're gonna go down
Before
next,
we
bro.
get
Listen
into more of this, I hear you, and I think, you know, it's really, really frightening to think about. I mean, I read all these allegations and the lawsuits, and I've never heard anything like it. And obviously, we don't know exactly where this investigation's going. But if Combs is charged with federal crimes here, but he's not in the country, and he's actually in a country or a jurisdiction where there's no extradition agreement, how do you get him back? What do federal authorities do?
That's a really good question. And I looked up just because I was curious actually about
Yeah.
Antigua. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. Some I do, some I don't. But we do have an extradition treaty with them. Right now, though, because of the public nature of this, I have a very hard time believing that a country would allow his plane to land with him on it in their country. They don't have to let him land if they don't want to. And so I think that it would be very difficult for him to be able to land in an inhospitable country simply because they don't want him. We do have extradition
Bro, this is
treaties
insane,
with
bro.
more countries than I think people would think. And typically they will send folks back to us as long as we take the death penalty off of the table. And I don't believe that this is a death penalty case. It's Southern District of New York. And so I believe that whether we have an extradition treaty or not with whatever country he may or may not go to, they will send him back.
And talk to me about what you think
P.
they
Diddy
have
running
in
for
terms
his
of the
life,
case.
boy.
Because, right, you say they want to preserve the
See,
evidence for a potential.
That's another thing, bro. You see, if he didn't run, if he wasn't hiding, it would make it look a bit better for him. You know, even though R. Kelly didn't hide and they got him just the same. Cosby didn't hide and they got him just the same. But P. Diddy hiding, running, fleeing to another country, it's making it look even worse on his case, bro. Like, it's making him look guilty before they even try the case and all of that, bro.
Prosecution against either him or someone else. There's a criminal case building.
All I
But
know
they
is
had
this
to
is
have
insane,
probable
bro.
cause for the search warrant to be issued. And I wonder, I mentioned some of the interviews. They wouldn't have had enough to try to arrest him first and then do the raid, or they need the raid first to see what's at the property before they can build a case and build charges and then arrest him. Talk to me about the timeline of how this typically works in terms of if we're seeing a raid on several properties. Does that in conjunction with an arrest? Does that come before an arrest? Does that, how does it typically work?
Typically, Jesse, it's in conjunction with an arrest. But I started thinking about this a little bit more last night, and I was thinking that if he has videos and or his associates have videos and they are attempting to distribute those of young male children or female children, that means that a child is in imminent danger. And so part of me wonders if this was done to stop that, and that they will get to the arrest obviously at some point, because as you mentioned, typically these warrants
Yeah,
are
Diddy
served
already
and
got
there's
rid of those,
usually an
bro.
indictment that goes hand in hand with that at the same time. So in my opinion, it's not unheard of, it's just a little bit unusual. We don't typically see this. Anytime we did raids at the FBI of this nature, we also had an arrest warrant for the individual as well. And so
That's
it is
insane, bro.
unusual, but I don't want to say it's unheard of. And again, I'm just speculating, but part of me wonders if this was still actively being distributed. And if it is, they need to shut that down
what?
immediately.
Were you surprised at the
he
response
was
that we saw
distributing
from
even
Douglas Wigdorf? This is a lawyer for
tapes?
Cassie Ventura and one of the Jane Does in response to reports of this search warrant that was issued on Sean Combs. Now, remember, Cassie Ventura settled with Sean Combs, but the statement says, quote, "We will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct." Now, again,
No.
in light of that
Come on, man.
settlement doesn't necessarily mean you're saying Combs is completely innocent. It's
Isn't he the one who did the song? I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. Well, you know what? The FBI ain't gonna stop right now, buddy.
The issue doesn't
you gone.
absolve him of wrongdoing, but to make that statement, I think that's something to be said. Now, again, of course, he's representing someone else that's continually suing Sean Combs. But again, that statement I thought was really interesting. What was your take on it?
Yeah, I thought that statement was interesting. My question about it, though, is did he tip them off? Did he provide them with information? Did Cassie Ventura or any of these individuals involved in these civil suits also provide evidence along with that to build this criminal case? Because obviously those two things are separate. So in my opinion, in listening to that statement, it actually sounds like maybe they did. And that's incredible that they did that, because I believe that Cassie Ventura was absolutely a victim of pretty horrific things.
She's
And if
beautiful
she
though.
was able to document all of that and provide evidence, then that absolutely would go to building his criminal case.
It's so crazy to think about this. I mean, again, and I'm not surprised by that
Bro,
connection to
but
New York
everybody
because I
been
go back to
talking
little Rod
about it.
Jones, and he said he was assaulted at different places, including in New York. So again, what can we expect next to happen as this story develops? And I imagine it's going to develop quite rapidly.
I agree with you. I think it's going to develop quite rapidly as well. I think the next thing that will happen is an indictment of P. Diddy. That's what I think, and that he will be taken into custody hopefully soon, at some point. But honestly, I don't. I'm not sure. This is, like
This
I
is
said, a little bit
insane, bro.
unusual, and that
Come
there
on, man.
isn't
The
an
bad
indictment
boy
yet. Although I
was being
think one
bad
may be forthcoming.
all along.
What about other individuals? Because remember, going back to one of the lawsuits, there was an allegation that there were violations of the TVPA, the Trafficking and Victims Protection Act, big law aimed at fighting against domestic and international human slavery, and they were filing a civil action with respect to it. But you're basically saying these minors are engaging in commercial sex acts. I would imagine that if this is a really big operation, we could potentially see arrests of other individuals connected to the rapper, right?
Man, a lot of people
I
gonna go down
agree.
for
I think
this.
we will probably see the arrest of one or both of his sons, because I believe that they, based on evidence in cases that we've seen in the past from
That
civil
is
perspective,
insane,
they
bro.
have been allegedly involved in this. But at the same time, too, I think that there may be a lot of people who have associated with him in his circle that are probably scared right now, because they may have had some involvement in this as well. And so, in
Bro,
my opinion, I think they will start at the top,
20,
obviously
20,
arresting Diddy,
2024
or his
is
sons. And from there, in my opinion,
crazy.
they may try to plea. I don't think he's going to completely avoid jail time or anything like that
Right.
if he's indicted, but maybe they will try to plead to get names of other individuals that are associated with this. But again, completely my hypothesis, Jesse.
Nah, I don't
And
think
I'll
P.
leave on
Diddy's gonna
this. There
rat, bro.
was reporting, there
I don't
was an
think P. Diddy's gonna
allegation that
rat.
Combs may have been allegedly harassing Mr. Jones because of that lawsuit that he filed. Jones alleges that Combs sent agents to intimidate his 8-year-old daughter and the mother of his child and his ex-wives. So you talk about the imminence of this raid. You talk about the manpower put forward by this raid. If that is true, and again, we don't know if it's connected to the lawsuit in any way, but that's something else to think about, right?
100%. He has a pretty long documented history of threatening individuals and asking them to, I guess, clean up his mess or clean up his dirty work, if you will. And so that is not at all surprising to me. And I do assume that individuals who may have been involved in speaking out or testifying in any of these
Oh,
civil cases may also be awarded some type of security and protection as well.
Tracy Walder, you're the best. Thank you so much for coming.
bro, this is insane, bro. There's a lot of people who's gonna go down if they can prove it, but I don't think P Diddy is going to rat on whoever is in the circle and was also involved in all of this. I don't think he's going to rat on them, bro. I really don't think he's going to do that on them, because obviously it would be some high-powered people he would be messing with to have these videos or these acts being done. And if he does that, you can't go to prison with that, bro. Because if they all have money, like, you go to prison, you're gonna be off. You feel me? Like, you're trying to unalive yourself if you do that. If y'all get what I mean. But this is insane, bro. I didn't even know what was really going on, but holy smokes, man. Hey, let me know what y'all think in the comment section about this, man. See y'all on the next video, man. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe as well.